Well, good morning, y'all. How's it going? It's Tuesday, December 3rd, 7:43 and 55 seconds in the morning here in western Iowa. All right. I went out to the Prairie Rose State Park, which is about 10 miles that way from me. Actually, less than that as the crow flies, but since I'm not a crow, I took my car. And here's what I found. I've been telling you, we've been below freezing since Wednesday evening. And here we are almost a week in, and this is what happens to the lake. It's frozen. And then here's looking the other direction. Yep, frozen that way too. And it's 12 degrees right now, so it's getting even more frozen. And we should barely crack freezing this afternoon, maybe, and then cold again on Thursday, or tomorrow will be a little warmer, and then colder on Thursday. So the lake's going to stay frozen, looks like, for a while. Maybe this weekend, though, warming up, might melt some of it, but I think we have a frozen lake. All right. Hazards across the country today, kind of widely scattered. It's not too hazardous out there. Freeze warnings, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. We still have some lake effect snow going on in the Great Lakes. So winter storm watches here, winter weather advisories here, and even a winter storm warning there in southwest Michigan. Then you get up into the northern Rockies. We're still dealing with some high wind warning here. So be warned, the wind's going to be high. For temperature, 24-hour temperature change from this time yesterday, we are 4 degrees cooler here in western Iowa. So I guess it was 16 yesterday morning. I can't remember. It was cold. And 15 degrees cooler when you get there into central Missouri, 10 degrees cooler in Kansas. But oh my goodness, northern plains, 10, 15, 20 degrees warmer. And the warmth will be moving into the plains before it cools off again. And then the rest of the country pretty close to where it was yesterday, except eastern New Mexico, West Texas, a little warmer. Surface for today, there's your snow across the Great Lakes, heavy in places, Pennsylvania, New York, northern Michigan. Could be a wintry mix, some freezing rain mixed with snow. North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, a little bit of rain in South Texas. Your anomalous temperatures today, you can see where it's cold, where we have the freeze warnings. The southeast, much below average today. That also gets you into Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Illinois, for the much below, but the eastern half of the country below average, western half above. And then the highs today, this is how that translates. Only 30s today in much of Tennessee. Kentucky the same, and then you get further into the Great Lakes, the Midwest, highs in the 20s. Again, we'll be right at or just a degree or two above freezing here in western Iowa. Temperatures below freezing in the Northeast. Pretty pleasant for Florida. This sounds pleasant to us, 60s to near 70. To them, that's cold. Southern Arizona, mid 70s for Phoenix. There you go. 40s in the Willamette Valley in the Pacific Northwest. Lows tomorrow morning. So this kind of illustrates the fact, once again, freezing temperatures. South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and then further north, even more below freezing. And not as cold. Western Iowa will be in the 20s, low 20s, so warming up. Single digits up there. Minot, North Dakota at 6. I keep highlighting Minot because it keeps being the most dramatic. Minot's so into that drama. Mid 40s for West Texas to start the day tomorrow. And we have 56 for Tucson to start the day. Tomorrow's surface looks like this. We're going to have a warm-up, and then we're going to have that cold front that's north of us in Iowa. So North Dakota, Minnesota, starting to see that front move south tomorrow with scattered snows, and then that snow gets heavy. UP of Michigan, off the lakes, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. But some rain mixed with snow, so warming up a little bit. We start to see the beginnings of that thaw for the Great Lakes, and then some rain. And some pretty heavy rains moving into the southeast up through Tennessee and Kentucky. We'll show you that here in a second. Anomalous temperatures tomorrow, warming up in the plains, cooling off in the northern plains. So a little warmer tomorrow here in Iowa, then cooling off and actually cold for Thursday into Friday. And then the weekend looks amazing if you like warm temperatures. The East Coast, a little below average still, but moderating a little bit. West Coast warming up. Highs tomorrow look like this. So if you're in Idaho, for example, Boise, 46. Mid-40s South Dakota, but 30s when you get up into northern South Dakota into North Dakota, but mid-50s for Kansas. Low 50s for Georgia. It's cooler in Georgia. And then down there in Florida, still cool in the 60s. We see some 70s in South Texas and, of course, the desert Southwest. For Thursday, cooling off again, front moving back through the northern plains, central plains, cold air across the Great Lakes with a snowstorm, and then behind it the cold air. So it's going to be a lot of snow again. Great Lakes moving into the northeast, and our showers increase for Texas into the southeast, and a little bit of rain mixed with snow for the Sacramento Mountains of New Mexico and the mountains in eastern Arizona and western New Mexico, with another system in the Pacific Northwest. Anomalous temperatures Thursday, cooling back off here in the Midwest and the northern plains, and sweeping into the Ohio Valley and then south to Tennessee, 16 degrees below average for Nashville. And then you get in the Great Lakes below average, again, eastern half below average, much below average, Midwest through the Ohio Valley and east, and then much above average for parts of the west, with temperatures in the 40s and 50s, Willamette Valley, mid-40s, Kansas again, but back into the low 20s for highs here in western Iowa on Thursday. And then warm along the Gulf Coast, 60s, I call that warm. A little bit warmer for Florida, getting more areas into the 70s, so that's more like it. Probably still need the sweater there, I know how you are. All right, let's check out the GFS model because my hopes for snow next week are starting to get dashed again. Of course. Maybe, we'll see. But anyway, we're starting this morning. Yes, we are. Okay, good. So not much going on. A little bit of rain down in South Texas. A little bit of snow coming off the Great Lakes. But pretty quiet right now. You see the flow pretty far south, right? So a big trough in the east. That's why it's so cold in the southeast. And that's not going anywhere, at least for the next 24 hours. But then it will start to moderate. So we get into tonight, and we see not a lot going on except for another system now entering into the northern Great Lakes, the western Great Lakes, and it will sweep across the Great Lakes into the east as we go through tomorrow. And the wind's picking up, and that cold front moving back into the Midwest. So warming up ahead of the front, then the front moves through Wednesday afternoon here in Iowa. And then you see the snow increasing and moving into the northeast, like all the way down to the coast. So Connecticut, your chance for snow. New Jersey, you too. And behind that, just a lot of wind and moving across the Great Lakes. The snow jets will get turned back on. It'll be windy here in Iowa too, with those north winds whipping and cold air returning. A little bit of rain along the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Texas, maybe into Mississippi, as a cold front sweeps further south. But we do start to moderate a little bit in the southeast. Rain in Texas with even a shower or storm. Maybe even eastern New Mexico getting in on that. But we see our little disturbance here in Texas. That's going to move into Oklahoma and then eventually north. And we're starting to quiet down in the Great Lakes. Meanwhile, warm air moving back into the plains as we get into Saturday. Pacific Northwest with a storm with mostly rain. But what's going to happen is we're going to warm up, and it's starting to show it here. This is midnight Saturday. You see the warm air moving all the way towards the Great Lakes now, pushing that cold air out of the southeast. And we're going to see a trough digging in the west. So places like Boise will finally get a chance for some snow. Other parts of maybe northern Idaho down in the lower elevations. Not yet here on Sunday, Saturday, but on Sunday, that cold front moves through. And so at least some snow showers for you where it hasn't been snowing too much yet in the lower elevations in Idaho. The snow levels also lowering for the Cascades of Oregon and Washington. And meanwhile, our rain, pretty heavy at times, moving into Arkansas, Louisiana. This is Sunday morning. This is Sunday noon. Heavy rain, Arkansas, East Texas. Snow scattered across the west, with colder temperatures dropping south. Warmer temperatures moving north on the east. And so is that heavy rain moving through Memphis, West Tennessee, into Kentucky, trailing back through Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, moving to the east and north. Even rain on top of all that snow. Some lake effect snow totals have been over 5 feet. A little bit of rain on top of that. And then our system getting its act together in the central Rockies. This is early Monday morning. Is that right? No, this is Monday morning, like 9 o'clock. Then we get to noon Monday. So heavy rain in the southeast and some rain moving into the northeast. Some snow sneaking back on the backside into the upper Midwest. And then our snowstorm for the Four Corners / Central Rockies. Where's that going to go? Well, as we go through Monday into Tuesday, we see more rain in the southeast. And look how far south this snow goes into West Texas. So the panhandle of Texas, a chance of snow. Maybe Lubbock, we'll see. Oklahoma, some snow. Kansas, a little bit of light snow where I live. So you're saying there's a chance. 6 a.m. Tuesday, the 10th. All right, and we move forward in time. This low moves across Missouri, bringing showers and thunderstorms and a mix of precipitation with snow on the backside. Kansas and Oklahoma, rain in the southeast and east. And where does that low go? It's going to miss me to the east. So yesterday this low was further west, had the snow here where I live. This run, the low is further east, with most of the heavy snow in eastern Iowa back into Missouri and Kansas, maybe even Fayetteville, Arkansas, as we get into Tuesday evening, Tuesday night. So that's your 7-day forecast. I'll just zoom through to show you where the low goes. It lifts right through the Great Lakes. And then we get some heavy rain down in the southeast ahead in the future, with, depending on where this low goes, inland or out closer away, further away from the coast, will determine where that rain snow line is in the northeast. But that's getting pretty far out there. That's Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile, Friday this week, across the country, we do see still the cold hanging on Great Lakes northeast, warming up here in Iowa, 30s and 40s for highs. It looks like it'll be upper 30s here. So still cold most of the day. You got a 24-hour period. Your high is 38. You're probably not getting above freezing till almost noon, and then you're back below freezing by 6 p.m. And so you've got a short window barely above freezing. That's kind of why the lakes freeze up even when the temperatures are supposed to be 38 degrees. Anyway, Friday, warming up most of the country. Saturday, even more so. And then as we get into Sunday, even more so in the plains and northeast and even into the Great Lakes. A little bit cooler, though, as we start to see that cold front drop through the northwest as the pattern shifts a little bit. But the 8 to 14 day temperature is kind of sad if you like cold weather, like I do. December 10 through 16, pretty much everyone with a good chance of above average temperature, including Alaska and Hawaii. And precipitation-wise, above northern plains, northern tier, and then east coast, and then southern, along the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Texas. But below average from California all the way into the Ohio Valley almost. All right, that's a quick look at your forecast through the weekend or your time back. Anyway, stay warm wherever you are, and we'll update you again tomorrow. Have a good day.